You know it's not my first rodeo or my first pot of gumbo.
People are saying folks got sick after eating Mama Tina's Gumbo, Beyonce's mom, and what started as hype turned into something way more serious real fast. Now, before we even get into this, welcome to Fame Thunder. Make sure you hit subscribe, drop a like, and stay all the way to the end because this story keeps getting crazier the deeper you go. So here's what's being said. Her gumbo is right at the center of all this, with reports claiming some people even ended up in the hospital. And that's where things really started raising eyebrows. Then out of nowhere, boom, Mama Tina's gumbo booth gets shut down just like that. And that move alone made the whole situation feel way more serious. So I had to look into it myself and figure out what's really going on behind all this talk, because something about it just doesn't sit right. Now, just to be clear, this isn't me accusing anyone or making claims. This is just about laying out what's being said and trying to understand the situation. Because honestly, there could be different reasons behind it. Some people might have gotten sick due to allergies reacting to something in the gumbo, and that could explain part of what's going on. Or maybe something went wrong during preparation, maybe an ingredient wasn't handled right, or the meat had an issue. There's a lot that could have played a part here. But then things took a wild turn online, because not everyone thinks this was just about food going bad. Some people started pushing a whole different idea, talking about witchcraft and even calling it extreme witchcraft. It got that dramatic real fast. This all supposedly kicked off earlier this month, around March 6th, at the legendary Houston Rodeo, a huge event that always pulls in big crowds and major attention. Now look, a lot of people showed up. Maybe not exactly thousands like some are claiming, but definitely hundreds, possibly more, lining up and even traveling from other states just to get a taste of Mama Tina's gumbo recipe. That's how serious the hype was. But before getting deeper into the gumbo situation, it makes sense to ask, who exactly is Mama Tina? And why is everyone talking like they know her personally? People keep saying Mama Tina like she's family, like they grew up around her or something. It's a super familiar name, and that comes from how connected people feel to Beyonce herself. There's definitely that parasocial vibe going on, where fans feel close to her world. And over the years, Mama Tina has been very visible too, always showing up, always part of the spotlight. So now people feel like she's someone they already know, whether that's actually true or not. So for most people, Mama Tina first popped up on their screens as the mother of Beyonce and Solange, but that's really just the surface of it. She's also well known for being the one behind many of Destiny's Child's iconic outfits. She was literally sewing those looks herself, and there are clips of her talking about how it all came together. And while digging into this, I found out something a lot of people didn't even realize. Mama Tina was actually in a girl group back in the day too. That part surprised a lot of people. There's even a moment where she opens up and says, "So I realized that some of the things that happened in my life and some of the obstacles that I had to overcome were actually very traumatic for me," which adds a whole deeper layer to her story. And then it circles back with that question people started asking. You actually were in girl groups like growing up, right? And suddenly her past starts connecting in a way people didn't expect. Isn't that kind of wild when you really think about it? Anyway, shifting gears a bit, she's also literally a survivor. And yes, that was a Destiny's Child reference if you caught it. She went through a breast cancer diagnosis and came out the other side, which is serious and deserves respect. That happened not too long ago either, around 2024, so it's still very recent. On top of that, she played a big role in helping Beyonce build House of Darion, the fashion brand that had a whole moment back in the day. And even now, she's still deeply involved in Beyonce's business world. She's actually the vice chair of the hair care brand that's been making waves. Now that brand had people talking too, because there's always been this ongoing debate about Beyonce wearing wigs. She's admitted she does sometimes, but she's also made it clear that wearing wigs doesn't mean you don't have real hair. And from what's been shown, she definitely has a full head of it. People still go back and forth on that topic though, and it keeps the conversation loud. There was even that viral moment people kept replaying. But anyway, what really caught attention is that Mama Tina is right there involved at a high level in that company too. And here's where things start connecting back. Mama Tina has reportedly been making this specific gumbo recipe for over 40 years. That's not new. That's decades of doing the same dish. And according to what's being said, Beyonce herself even requests this gumbo personally, which only adds to the hype around it. So when Mama Tina officially posted on her Instagram that she would be serving that same gumbo at the Houston Rodeo, it instantly got people talking. The excitement shot up fast. Crowds getting ready, people planning to pull up just to try it. Now look, a lot of people were clearly hyped about it. I'm just saying, not everybody was on that level of excitement, but the buzz was definitely loud. So this was supposed to be a full-on happy moment, something fun that people could come together for. And a lot of folks were seriously excited about it. People were hyped, making plans, even buying tickets just to be there and try this gumbo. That's how big it got. And every time Mama Tina starts talking about her gumbo, it turns into something bigger than just food. It almost feels symbolic. The United States is always called a melting pot, right? But growing up in Louisiana, where gumbo really comes from, we used to call it the gumbo pot instead, because you throw all kinds of different ingredients in, and somehow it all blends together. So, this moment had that same energy. People coming together, different backgrounds, all lining up for one dish. It felt like a vibe at first, like something positive was happening. But then, a few small details started making people look twice. First off, the price had people talking. We're not talking cheap. It was around $25 for a cup of gumbo, and not even a huge serving either. Just a decent-sized cup, but still, that price raised some eyebrows real quick. Then came the big selling point. The story being pushed was that Mama Tina made the gumbo herself, putting in 16 to 18 hours cooking it. That sounds impressive. But at the same time, people started side-eyeing that claim a little bit. And on top of that, she was reportedly right there at the booth herself, serving it up in person, which only added more attention, and honestly, a few more questions too. People were really outside traveling for this. One person came all the way from California, another pulled up from Georgia, just to get a taste of this gumbo. That's not regular hype, that's next-level dedication. And it wasn't just social media chatter either, this got real media attention. Big platforms were covering it, full articles were being written, and the whole thing started to feel like a major event instead of just a food stand. The anticipation kept building. Then finally, the day hits. Lines wrapping around, people waiting, energy high, cameras out, and the gumbo starts getting served. Everything looked like it was going exactly how it was supposed to. But like I said before, there were signs. Little signs here and there that something wasn't sitting right, and some people caught on early. And you could tell something was off immediately just by looking at it. Because gumbo has structure, there's a way it's usually done. Now, people debate about okra all the time. Some want it in, some don't. That's a whole separate argument. If you're team okra or not, that's your business. But this situation wasn't even about that. The real point is this: gumbo usually stays in its lane. You're either making a seafood gumbo or you're making a land-based one, like chicken and sausage. That's the standard most people agree on. And if you're doing seafood, you keep it in the water family, everything coming from the sea. Once you start mixing outside of that, people who know gumbo are going to notice real quick. But here's where things really started to fall apart. Mama Tina wasn't following what a lot of people see as the main rule of gumbo. You either make a seafood gumbo or you make a land-based gumbo. You don't mix the two like that. Now, me personally, I can't even tell you the full history behind why that rule exists. It's just something you grow up knowing and you don't question it. You stick to it. But in this case, there were two versions being served. One was the classic chicken and sausage, cool, nothing too crazy there. But the other one, it was being promoted as seafood gumbo. While also having chicken and sausage in it, people from Louisiana all over social media started speaking up. Cousins, locals, folks who really know the culture, and a lot of them were side-eyeing the same thing. One blogger out of New Orleans even went as far as tasting it and said straight up, "That's not gumbo." She didn't sugarcoat it at all. She even added, "Just looking at it, that's not gumbo at all. I'm just so sorry, Mama Tina," which says a lot because people actually like her. But even then, they were keeping it real. If it's not gumbo, it's just not gumbo, and you might need to call it something else. Some critics did not hold back at all. They were going all the way in. People were saying it looked like dirty dishwater. And not just that, salty, dirty dishwater. That's how harsh the reactions were getting. Another reviewer even said, and this is a direct quote, "I can't believe anybody would want to eat that." And then took it even further by calling it Katrina Aftermath Water Gumbo. That comparison right there had people shocked. When someone says Katrina Aftermath Water, it brings up real images. dirty floodwater, debris everywhere, and even animals that didn't survive, just floating in that water. Fish, all kinds of things mixed together in a way nobody wants to think about, let alone eat. So hearing that comparison, that's enough to turn anyone away instantly. And it wasn't just random comments either. People who actually cook, people who know Louisiana food, were speaking up too. Not saying they went to culinary school or anything like that, but real experience counts more in this case. You can study all day and still not know how to cook authentic Louisiana food the right way. So when they started looking at this situation, they had questions. Serious ones. The biggest one? That cooking time.
I tried to do gumbo before, and it's a very tedious process. It takes 15 to 20 hours to do one pot of gumbo.
Because a solid traditional gumbo might take around 6 hours, maybe 8 if you're really putting in work. But 16 to 18 hours? That had people raising eyebrows fast. Something about that just didn't sit right. And it started making the whole situation feel even more questionable. Because here's the thing, when you cook gumbo too long, it starts breaking down in a way that's not good at all. The part that actually takes time in gumbo is making the roux. You've got to get that roux just right. Nice and dark, full of flavor, but not burnt. That's the foundation of everything, that rich base that holds the whole dish together. If you mess that up, the whole gumbo is off from the start. Then after that, you let everything come together. You let it simmer, let the flavors blend, let it sit and build. That part matters too. A slow simmer can bring it all together in a beautiful way. But there's a limit, and this is where things start going left. If you cook gumbo for too long, especially something like chicken and sausage gumbo, the ingredients literally start falling apart. The chicken can't handle all that heat and stirring forever. It starts breaking down into tiny shreds. Now, some people don't mind a little shredded chicken, that's normal. But if you keep pushing it, cooking it longer and longer, those shreds get smaller and smaller until they basically disappear. At that point, you're not even really eating chicken anymore. You're just getting traces of it. And the same exact thing happens with the sausage. You slice it up, it's supposed to hold its shape and give that bite. But if it's been cooking way too long, it starts breaking down too. So by the time you finally go to eat it, it's like, where did everything go? The sausage isn't really there anymore, just little pieces and flavor left behind. At that point, you're not getting full ingredients. You're getting what feels like leftovers of what used to be in the pot. And that's where people really started questioning what was going on with this gumbo. So people started asking real questions like, hold on, if this gumbo was really cooking for 16 to 18 hours, how is anything even holding up in there? How is the sausage still intact? How is the shrimp not overcooked to the point where it's tough and hard to eat? None of that was adding up, because gumbo does take time, nobody's arguing that. But 16 hours? 18 hours? That's way past what most people consider normal. So now, folks are looking at it sideways, like something doesn't make sense here. And it wasn't just the cooking time either. People were already questioning how it looked, what was inside it, and especially that mix of seafood with chicken and sausage all in one pot. That combination alone had people from Louisiana saying, that's not how it's supposed to go. On top of that, dishes like that usually can't even handle being cooked that long without completely falling apart. So now the confusion was turning into real suspicion. But even with all that talk going around, a lot of people were still excited and still lining up to try it anyway. The hype didn't just disappear overnight. Then, things started happening. And like I said earlier, the signs were already there, but now people were claiming they were actually feeling the effects in a bad way. There was even one guy, people started calling him the food poisoning live stream guy, who posted a video after trying it. And interestingly, he didn't come in hating at first. He actually said the gumbo tasted pretty good. He mentioned it was salty, but that alone isn't unusual. People from Louisiana are known to like their food with a strong flavor. And on top of that, this wasn't even being served in Louisiana. It was at the Houston Rodeo, so some differences were expected. I'm not even sure why Mama Tina didn't just lean into something local, like barbecue, because Texas is known for that. But instead, she brought a Louisiana dish over to Houston. Now, to be fair, Houston is pretty close to Louisiana, only a few hours away from where I grew up, so it's not completely out of place. So the guy on the live stream is sitting there like, it's salty, but it actually tastes pretty good. Nothing too crazy at first, but then everything takes a turn real fast. By the end of that same live stream, the man is literally throwing up on camera. No filter, no cutaways. It was all right there. he's sweating, looking completely out of it, like something hit him hard out of nowhere. Now, to be clear, I'm not a doctor. I can't say exactly what was going on with him. Maybe something else caused it, maybe not. But the timing had people connecting the dots immediately. And while all this is happening, he's even saying, "I'm sorry, Mama Tina, it's just," and can barely finish his sentence. That moment alone had people talking. Then it didn't stop there. More people started coming forward saying they felt sick too, and they were all pointing back to the gumbo. Now at first, the conversation was just about taste. Some people liked it, some people didn't. That part was subjective. But this was different. People were now posting in real time, tweeting, going live, even recording videos from hospital beds, claiming they got sick after eating it. That's when things really escalated. Now look, nobody here is confirming medical reports or test results. It's all based on what people were saying online. Some could have been exaggerating, some could have been serious. Nobody fully knows. But either way, the situation got intense fast, and stories like this one, like this man right here, Jim, just kept adding more fuel to the whole situation. One guy even posted a warning straight from what looked like a hospital bed saying, "Y'all do not eat that Tina Knowles gumbo." That alone had people stopping in their tracks. Then another person did the same thing, also claiming they got sick after eating it, again warning everybody to stay away. We're talking full caps, do not eat Mama Tina gumbo. The panic started spreading fast, and it didn't stop there. More posts started popping up, more people saying they felt sick after trying it. Then one woman even came out saying she met Mama Tina and claimed she was acting like a witch. That comment right there pushed things into a whole different direction. Because now the conversation wasn't just about food anymore. This is where things take a sharp turn. Sure, there are normal explanations. Maybe the gumbo was cooked too long. Maybe someone had an allergy to an ingredient in it. Maybe something went wrong during preparation, or the meat wasn't handled properly. Those are real possibilities. But online, people started running with a completely different theory. They began saying this wasn't just bad food. They were calling it witchcraft. Not just regular talk either. People were saying extreme witchcraft was somehow involved in that gumbo. And if you've been following along, you might remember there's already been talk like this before, especially when it comes to Beyonce, which only made this whole situation blow up even more. There have already been conspiracy theories floating around for a while now. At one point, Beyonce was even accused by a former drummer of being involved in extreme witchcraft. And that wasn't the only time. There's also been talk online connected to Jay-Z and Marina Abramovich, who people sometimes bring up in these kinds of conversations. And let's not forget, Beyonce herself has addressed rumors before, even referencing people saying, "Y'all haters corny with that Illuminati mess." So this isn't the first time the Carter family has had these kinds of claims thrown at them. But now, it's all popping back up again, over gumbo. That's what really has people doing a double take. And the wild part is, it wasn't just one person saying this. A lot of people online started running with the same idea, claiming Mama Tina was somehow involved in something beyond just cooking. Now, me personally, I'm not jumping straight to that conclusion. I don't know if it's anything like that. If anything, some people might just be chasing attention or reacting to the situation getting out of hand. But still, those theories started spreading fast. Just look at what people were posting. One user even jumped in and started calling it witchcraft gumbo. So at that point, the conversation had fully shifted. It wasn't just about taste or price or even people getting sick anymore. Now it was turning into something way bigger and way more dramatic than anybody expected. Then you had other people online going even further, pointing out what they claimed was a resemblance between Mama Tina and a cartoon witch. They were putting side-by-side images, doing split screens, and really trying to make that comparison stick. Now, whether you see it or not, people were definitely running with that idea. And then there was this one video. Had to be somebody's cousin, sitting in the car with a filter on, laughing and saying, "That is not gumbo. No, I'm sorry, I have to tell you, that's not gumbo." And then calling it a stew or even a witch's brew. That clip alone had people cracking up and adding even more noise to the situation. Now look, I'm just repeating what's been circulating, because at this point, these witchcraft claims keep popping up around the same names over and over again. People online have been making these kinds of accusations for a while, calling the Knowles-Carter family all kinds of things. But putting all that aside for a second, the real question is How is Mama Tina responding to all this criticism? And the answer? She doesn't seem bothered at all. She's still out there at the rodeo, still showing up, still serving that gumbo like nothing happened. Despite all the talk, all the reactions, all the theories, she kept it moving and continued selling what people are now side-eyeing and calling everything from gumbo to something else entirely. But now more reviews started coming out, and people began noticing something interesting. Some were saying, wait a minute, this batch looks different. One looks thicker, another looks less watery, like the consistency isn't the same across the board. So now, people are asking, is this a quality control issue? Or did something get adjusted after all the feedback started pouring in? Because those differences didn't go unnoticed. And let's not forget, it's still priced around $23 to $25 a bowl depending on which one you get. So people are definitely paying attention to what they're being served. At this point, people are left wondering what really caused all of this. Was it the cooking time going way too long and breaking everything down? Was it just poorly made gumbo? Did it sit out too long in the heat? Or is it something else entirely? And of course, you still have those online theories trying to turn this into something way deeper and more dramatic than it might actually be. But here's the real takeaway. Nothing has been fully confirmed. No clear answers, just a lot of talk, reactions, and people trying to piece things together. What we do know is this. Mama Tina is still out there, still showing up, and still serving that gumbo like nothing slowed her down. That alone says a lot. At the end of the day, everything being said is still just allegations. I don't personally know any of these people, so take it for what it is. But I want to hear from you. Would you try that gumbo, or are you staying far away? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories like this.